Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to LabelFuse. So, before I begin, I would like to borrow your attention for a few minutes. So, imagine 2 years from now, you are knocking off from work in your self driving car, and you're all relaxed, enjoying yourself, going to see your family. But for some reason, your car begins to struggle. It cannot understand the difference between a traffic light that says stop and a pedestrian crossing. So there's a conflict of interest here. The AI knows that, okay, it says green for me, I need to pass. And there's pedestrians who are wondering, why is this car not stopping? So pause for a few seconds. Nothing has happened yet. So keep that in mind. The problem here is data. The data being used to train the self-driving car is not as accurate. And for those reasons, the car cannot decide between should I continue moving or should I stop to save these lives? So it's still stuck. Today, we have over 300 billion images being generated. Before, this used to be a huge challenge. You are looking at $3.1 trillion in the US alone to maintain this data. But with the advent of AI and machine learning, companies have realized that, you know what, we could actually make a whole lot of sense with this data. We could build everything from self-driving cars, apps that can understand cancers. We could count people in a crowd without depending on humans. But AI for data is extremely expensive, simply because the same way you teach a child, you need to do the same for AI. So you need to tell the AI, hey, this is an eye, these are legs, this is an ear, a whole lot of data points. When it comes to self-driving cars, you are looking at multiple scenarios that me and you can pretty much not cover. So for those reasons, companies are struggling to build AI because of data. I mean, obviously, this doesn't mean that there are no solutions on the market. So think Amazon Mechanical Turk. They promise you efficiency, a huge crowd to do your data labeling, but you are compromising as a business on security, privacy, and accuracy for your data. This is your business. Why would you give it to someone who you don't know? So this is what we are trying to do at LabelFuse, addressing the issue of speed, accuracy, and expertise such that AI understands what it needs to do on time and quicker. So this is what we've done. We've built an end-to-end human-in-the-loop labeling platform that allows businesses to process huge amounts of data within hours instead of months. So this is how it works. You upload your images, pick an area of interest, tell the AI what it needs to see. And once that is done, you can quickly verify. And if that's correct, simply click Next, and task is complete. If you're not sure, test your models before you deploy in a real-world scenario. In this case, the AI will tell you what it sees. If you're happy with it, deploy. Now, what's apart from everyone else is we're trying to address these three key issues: accuracy, privacy, and expertise. How do you ensure that your data is accurate to avoid issues such as biases, mistakes, misdiagnosis? This is a huge cost for business. Privacy. How do you make sure that your data is not being used by bad actors? Only you have access to that data, so you should keep it. Last but not least, expertise. By allowing people who know what they need to do to label your data, we are ensuring that businesses can quickly deploy their businesses with confidence, knowing what they're doing. So talk is cheap. Who's been using our technology today? So let's begin with climate change. We are all affected by climate change. It's everything from floods, earthquakes, tornadoes, you name it. At some point, we are also going to be affected. Who knows? One day in Europe, it's as hot as Africa. That'll be fun to see. Because, yeah. So let's begin with climate. Great. So let's begin with climate change, right? So fortunately, it's not all gloom and doom. We do have institutions who are working day and night to ensure that we are prepared for the future. So let's begin with Utrecht University. So what you're looking at here is prehistoric data from 104 million years ago. So what they're trying to do is to map out all the climate events from that time to date, such that they can understand what will happen into the future. But the problem is, the process is still manual, the technology is outdated, and PhDs are wasting their years of study just counting cells. I mean, I would be pissed off. I don't have a PhD, but I wouldn't imagine myself sitting in a room just counting cells one by one to understand climate. But using LabelFuse, we changed all that. Work that took 3 days, we had to break it down to nothing less than 7 seconds. Thank you. So this is 7 seconds to map out an entire history of climate change and then also predict the future of climate, such that if we get to know that in the next 20 years we're going to have a flood, we can start building ships right now. Obviously, maybe not ships. But because of what we've been doing with several partners in different pilots, today we are privileged to work with several companies from different countries. Today we're addressing issues such as self-driving cars, retail, cell counting, and research, and smart cities as well. In the pipeline, we have over 1 million images pending. So with your support, we can make this even more quicker. So this is just the beginning. Now, I know you're wondering, okay, guys, great. Pilots check, pipeline check, but how are you making money? We are beginning with 50 cents per image. So this is just the beginning, and then over time, we get to increase our pricing model based on what the client needs. And at the core of this, we want to automate the entire process such that there's less time spent labeling and more deploying, and let the AI do the rest. That's our goal as LabelFuse. To make this work requires a great team. My name is Kelvin, and I'm the CEO at LabelFuse. I bring over 10 years working experience as an entrepreneur, and what I do in the company today, it's everything from designing beautiful products that clients love, and also understanding customer requirements, user acquisition strategies, and business. Last but not least, my CTO, Jochen. Now, there's a lot that could be said about Jochen. So he's not only a coder, but he's also an entrepreneur himself, being the first man in Europe to build a VR center. Second to that, he's a full-stack software engineer with expertise in machine learning and AI. And last but not least, he's also a member of Mensa. For those who do not know, it simply means he's a certified genius. So we know what we are doing. So, are you excited, inspired, and moved by what we're trying to do? Yes. Join us today at LabelFuse. There you go. Drop us an email. We are looking for investors, strategic investors, not just any investors, just throw money and walk away. Work with us to make this work. So strategic investors, introduction to customers. And of course, Wakanda forever.